At first glance, this just looks like some standard government document out of Bangladesh. You see it, it's a formal appeal, it's packed with all that bureaucratic language we're used to. But if you actually dig a little deeper, you'll find there's a really powerful story buried inside. It's the plea of a professor, and he's fighting for his name, his career, and, well, his freedom. And this one sentence pulled straight from that appeal really just gets right to the heart of it. It's a plea from a man who feels like the system itself is failing him. So let's unpack this. Who is this person and what on earth led him to write these words? Okay, so the man who wrote this appeal is Dr. Milton Biswas. And in his letter, which he sent to the Home Minister, he makes a point to introduce himself. But not as a suspect. No. He introduces himself as a dedicated academic and a respected, long-standing member of his community. And this is what I find so interesting, the picture he paints of himself. We're talking about a professor in the Bengali department at Jagannath University. He's a researcher, an author, and he's also a member of the Christian minority community, someone who's been a longtime advocate for religious harmony. Now, I want you to really keep this profile in your head because it stands in such stark contrast to what he's being accused of. It just doesn't seem to line up. So, with that background in mind, get this. Dr. Biswas finds himself accused in not one, not two, but 3 separate criminal cases. And the charge in every single one of them, well, it's incredibly serious. Okay, let's really look at this. The table here lays it all out. You've got 3 different cases, filed in 3 different police stations. But just look at that accusation column. Attempted murder, and attempted murder. It's the exact same charge every single time. And all of this supposedly happened within just a 3-week window. It's pretty wild. But here's where it gets, even more strange. It's his position in these cases. In that first one, from the Kotwali Thana, he's not the main suspect. He's not even suspect number 10. He's listed way, way down the list as accused number 73. And that pattern just continues. You look at the second case, and it's basically the same story. He's not at the top of the list there either. He's accused number 55. So again, he's not being painted as some kind of ringleader, just one name buried in a long list. And then, in the final case, he's number 21. I mean, just think about that for a second. We've got 3 different cases, 3 different police stations, and in every single one, he's just one name on this long list with dozens of other people. And this right here is a really key part of his argument that these charges are just designed to harass him, not to actually prosecute him for a crime. So what do you do if you're a university professor and you suddenly find yourself named in 3 separate attempted murder plots? Well, in his appeal, Dr. Biswas lays out a very specific alibi for each and every one of the dates these crimes were supposed to have happened. Okay, so these are the 3 key dates we're talking about. According to the police reports, these are the days that Dr. Biswas was supposedly out there involved in some violent criminal activity. So let's take a look at what he says he was actually doing. So for that first incident on July 16th, he says he was nowhere near the crime scene. He claims he was at home, and get this, he was working on a paper about the very thing he's known for advocating for, religious harmony. I mean, the irony there. It perfectly illustrates the kind of contradiction that he's trying to point out. All right. The second incident was supposedly on July 19th. His alibi for this one is pretty simple. That day was a Friday, which, is the official weekly holiday in Bangladesh. The university was closed, and he insists he was absolutely nowhere near the location they mention in the case file. And for that final charge, on August 5th, his alibi gets even more specific. He claims he was physically at the Ecumenical Christian Trust in Mirpur. Now, that's in a completely different part of the city from where this incident in Jatrabari supposedly took place. He's saying, look, I have 0 connection to this event, none whatsoever. Okay, so he's laid out his alibis for each accusation, but he doesn't just stop there and say, I'm innocent. No, he actually makes some very specific formal requests to the government to try and resolve this whole mess. Let's take a look at exactly what he's asking for. He makes 3 really concrete requests. First, he's asking for an immediate administrative order to either withdraw the cases completely or at least exempt him from them. Second, he wants a swift decision based on the evidence they already have. And third, and this one feels pretty urgent, he's asking for protection. He wants to make sure he's not arrested or harassed while this whole thing is being sorted out. So why the urgency? right? Why go straight to a government minister with this appeal? Well, in his own words, it's because the ongoing legal process is basically a punishment in itself, no matter what the final verdict ends up being. And this, right here, is the absolute core of his plea. He's arguing that these cases, which he calls totally baseless, are not actually about justice. He believes they're specifically designed to harass him. And what's the result? A constant state of uncertainty, serious damage to his reputation, and a very real, very tangible loss to his professional life. And this really brings us to the fundamental dilemma that's at the heart of this whole document. Dr. Biswas' appeal, it raises a question that's so much bigger than just his own situation. It forces you to think about it. A scenario where simply being accused, where being tied up in a long investigation, can completely ruin a person's life, long before a court ever says they're innocent or guilty. And that really leaves us with this final thought to chew on. When the process itself is the punishment, how do you even begin to seek justice?